Hey, Jay here. We're with our 300XC, which is one of our favorite bikes. This is the one that was on cover of Dirt Bike magazine just a while back. Still has the carburetor. We've gone to the Kian with the JD jetting. We've been talking about that for a while. What we've done now is we've gone to the Stic metering rod. I've gotten tons of guys who comment and send me messages that I need to test this thing out. George is the guy there. Older guy, seems very smart on this kind of stuff. I've been a little leery because the bikes run so good with just the Kian on there and the JD jetting. And we're going to be riding at around 6,000 to 8,500 feet to 8,500 tomorrow when we take this out. So we've already swapped it. I got a few photos here showing you. Most of you are going to know how to take the carburetor off and on your bike, but not too bad of a job. I just hold up I don't even have to take the tank off anymore. Hold it up. The top of the carburetor, got a picture here. You have to mill or file off that little top of the carburetor, which I have a video that shows you how to do that as well, so you can run your stock cable. There's enough room in the cable to pull the carburetor out on this left side of the bike, swap the carburetors. Now, so I already did it today, and we were running the Kian, and so far it feels no worse. And so you go, well, we've only ridden on the road, just putting around, not geared up, not on the trail. So that was my main thing. I want to make sure it didn't feel any worse, and I'm good to go test this thing out for real. So gonna get out to the trail. These things are a lot different. This Stic metering block goes inside. There's tons of good videos. Tokyo Off-Road has a really good one showing you how to install that. And Stic sends you the little torque bits, the two different sizes you'll need to do that. So this carburetor had it already installed. It was already ready to go. So that makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to be on the trail. I'm going to talk about what I think and feel so far. I'm pretty optimistic. I was a little pessimistic at first, and so was Spencer. He's like, man, it's so good, the bike. It's hard to think you could actually make it better. So we're now, after feeling it now, I'm kind of hoping that it is a lot better, and so, or at least any better is going to be great. So we'll see how it feels on the trail. Okay, here we go. We are back on our 300XC with the Stic on here. Just did a bunch of trails, not on film. Why don't I film everything? It's just more hassle. Sorry. So did most of the up. This down won't be on the gas a lot, so you can hear me talking a bunch. I was like in fourth gear there. Okay, cruising down. Okay, so my thoughts are it works really, really well. Now, when I say that, what I'm feeling so far is I had a Kian already on this bike. You know, they come with a Mikuni. It was running really well. Jetted well with the JD kit. This Stic with a JD kit, it's their specific JD kit, works really well. Is it way better than the Kian that was jetted? I don't think it's way better. I think it's better. It's not way better, but it is good. Now, if you're coming from the Mikuni, I think it would be way, way better kind of thing. So that's important to know. And I'll round back up here and when I kind of close out and talk about the price, because that's going to be a factor, obviously, for guys as well. So it works really well. I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty sure that it's going to make a lot bigger difference on moto and faster trails and desert stuff. So, because this thing's really targeted at more performance and power. That's really what its deal is. Woohoo! So, you have to remember that it's really a performance part. If you're riding slow trails like this most of the time, probably not going to be as big of a deal that you have this optimal performance gain. But if you're riding a lot of more open stuff, I think you're going to be able to really get the benefits of it. For anybody that pays attention to Rado, you know that he really loved it on the YZ125. And you have to remember that a YZ125 can really use a lot more help and is riding it more wide open than you would, say, a 300XC or a XCW. Our trail's kind of gotten a bit jacked up right here. I need to turn the idle up a hair, and for some silly reason, I don't think I have a flat blade in my... Now the settings we're running on this are the JD kit that you get for the Stic. We're at 6. We set it for over 6,000 feet, so it's got the red needle on number 2, 180 I think was the main, and 50 pilot air screws out to like 3.5. Now the air screw in this bike, George, the guy that invented this Stic, and it's his deal, is doing it, regulating the jetting a lot differently. I don't understand it all, but the way it atomizes fuel and air, he wants you running that air screw way out, 3.5 to 4. And just so you know, on anything else, if you were to do that, first of all, it'd fall out. He's got 2 special springs on there, one inside and outside, to help prevent that. So, yeah, I'm pretty impressed. I was a bit pessimistic, I guess I should say, or worried that it wouldn't be better, or that it would actually be worse. And so definitely can say that it's no worse. I think it cleaned up this bike a good amount. Now, could we have got some of that with jetting? I don't know. You know, hard to say. But I'm pretty impressed. It's a pretty cool design and part that he's done. It's really hard to improve upon what the Japanese and other real engineers have done for most stuff. We understand these guys at Kian, you know, knew what they were doing when they made that carburetor, right? So to try to make something that goes inside and kind of takes the majority of the functionality of that carburetor and puts it into here and works better is pretty impressive. So you got to know what you're doing. So obviously he knows what he's doing to create such a thing, and he's been fine-tuning it. Tokyo Off-Road has some videos on how to install these things that are good, and like I said, Stic comes with the tools, the little Torx tools you need to do it, take your carb apart. He keeps fine-tuning on it, and he's made different little pieces that go to his block. I forget what you even call the tube. Anyway, there's different ones now, and ours here has the more updated one that's supposed to be good in this bike, and it feels good in this bike. Unfortunately, in this video right now, you're not going to hear me open this thing up any big hill climbs or anything, but I will let you know that she runs plenty good wide open too. So I don't know if I was as worried about wide open as I was this kind of stuff and it loading up and not being right, because this is more important. That when you're going down this for a long time, see how long this hill is, you don't want this thing to load up and then you got a little hill climb and you can't make it up because it's like brrr. So this thing's not, it's definitely running cleaner. I was getting a decent amount of ooze coming out my silencer before. That looks to be a decent amount less. So that's good. And definitely doesn't feel too lean. We'll definitely want to report back, but there's a lot of people who've been bugging me to test this thing over the last few years. So I noticed he's really got his fans. You know, guys, once they get on this Stic, they don't seem like they're really sold, man. They really promote it. So that's pretty cool for them. Again, pretty nice deal. I'll report back with my final thoughts here in a bit. Okay, we're back here talking about the Stic and who that's best for, the Stic metering rod. And had to do a little bit more testing than I was hoping for. I was hoping just to be able to ride it the first time and tell you, hey, it's amazing for everybody. And as I was kind of saying on the trail video, in the mountain trails, what I've come up with, and let me back up a little bit. We tested it also in a 125, a KTM 125, a 2019, same as 20, KTM 125. And you can listen to that thing right now. And as you can see, this thing sounds amazing, right? Well, we took the Mikuni off that 125, put on a Kian with a JD jetting kit, and it ran really good. Then put in the Stic with their jetting from JD, and it ran really good. I would say just a bit better. And it was more noticeable on that 125. And so what it had me thinking is we need to get this 300 out to a little bit more of an open area. As you can see, we're out in more of a desert area today with sand hill climbs, rocks, and tight trails, all that stuff combined. And what we've learned is, what we think is this bike, with the Stic, if you're just trail riding, we think the regular Kian, if you have a Kian, I think that's just going to be just fine. If you're in the more desert and motocross and you want the most optimal top end power that doesn't really seem to hurt bottom, then the Stic is going to be for you. So, and I think you're going to lose some fuel mileage with the Stic. For everything I've read and seen, we haven't done enough of an analysis, but you're running a way bigger main jet. Doesn't seem like there's much of a way around of using more fuel with the Stic. So with that said, I think the Stic is going to be a great option for guys that are doing motocross, especially like a 125. And if you're upgrading from a Mikuni on a newer bike and you want to upgrade from Mikuni to a Kian and get the entire setup at one time, no problem there. Couldn't see any problem in getting that set up. It is more money than just buying a Kian and a JD. So if you're just trail riding and you want to upgrade your XCW or XC, 17 to 19 in that range, the JD with the Kian is great. And then stepping up to the Stic will be a good option. It wasn't too difficult. I got some photos of us changing it in the 125, and it wasn't that difficult. It's pretty simple if you have any mechanical ability. Tokyo Off-Road has some really good videos showing you how to do it. So that'll give you more detail. As you can see, it takes, 5 minutes once the carburetor's on the bench to swap it all out, put it back together, and then you're off and running. And then, swapping carburetor. As you can see, we actually changed a carburetor today out here. Wind wasn't bad or anything, so I wasn't too worried about it being too dirty. And luckily we didn't drop anything. And, these bikes aren't that bad. Even Spencer's like, well, that wasn't too bad. It was pretty quick. We just pick up the rear of the subframe, leave the top 2 bolts in, just tighten one of them up when you get it up. You used to take the silencer off, which we did it when it was hot. Pulled it off with gloves so that we could test it back to back. And that's something I really wanted to do on this, was to test it back to back out here, because many times you try something a day later or a week or 2 weeks later, and it's really tough to tell. So this way we have a direct, exact comparison. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit. I think if you're riding motocross wide open stuff, the Stic is going to be for you. And I don't think it'll hurt if you're in a tight trail riding and you want to have one. I don't think it's going to hurt at all. I just think it's optimal for guys that are more wide open stuff. So hopefully that helps you out on your decisions on a Stic for you. And hopefully we'll see you out at the track or trail soon.